Yes.
Make sure everybody's ready to get you. Good afternoon. My name is Al Penn. I am facilitating this press conference for Mayor Bodeker. We're going to discuss the events that happened on May 1st. The mayor will read a prepared statement. There will be other individuals who will speak, and the mayor will come back after those speakers are done, and he will give his answers to any particular questions that you might have afterwards. So with that being said, Mayor Bob Bodeker, Mayor, City of Joliet.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out. Thanks for putting up with us too with the bad weather approaching. We did move this inside, and because of the COVID restrictions, there can only be so many people in the room. So thank you for working with us and being patient. I would like to thank again all of you for coming out, and especially thank all the community leaders who have chosen to join me this afternoon. I want to take a brief opportunity to address what happened in Joliet on May 31st at both the productive and peaceful protests which occurred during the day and the subsequent hurtful and chaotic behavior that came to our city that evening. The streets were filled with protesters with good intentions during the day. As night fell, these protests turned into chaos and left the streets of Joliet filled with individuals determined to destroy all the progress made that day through disruption, destruction, theft, violence, and even arson. In times of social crisis and discontent, local officials need to interact directly with the people they are responsible for. This is why I met and spoke with demonstrators that day, focusing on the wrongful death of George Floyd at the hands of police officers in Minnesota and related issues of social and economic inequality. I was proud of the protesters' peaceful demonstration. I was proud of our constructive conversations and discussions with Black Lives Matter. Our city understands that there has to be a willingness to work together to improve many aspects of American life so that everybody feels that they are being treated equally and fairly. Whether you are Black, white, Latino, Asian, straight, gay, lesbian, or trans, everyone deserves to have the feeling that they are being treated equally and fairly. But those who came to Joliet and sought to destroy our great city will be dealt with swiftly and appropriately. There is no tolerance for looting, rioting, the burning of buildings, or unruly behavior. This is not the way to honor the precious life of George Floyd, who was unjustifiably murdered in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in broad daylight by a white police officer. It is also not the way to honor the great city of Joliet, Illinois, in the dark of the night. Many who have criticized me have questioned why I was present on the site with the first responders, why I was assisting in keeping the peace. It was a personal choice I made based on my willingness to support the peaceful protests that had just taken place and support the men and women of the Joliet Police and Fire Departments. In regards to the specific action I took on Sunday night, there could be room for discussion about whether the mayor of the city of Joliet should have been there. But considering what transpired that evening on our streets, I can only imagine what those discussions would be like if I had not been there. The most unfortunate consequence of this incident is that it detracts from the purpose of the peaceful demonstration seeking social justice and better accountability in addressing police brutality, better community policing strategies, and better police training and tactics. While all public servants, including law enforcement and first responders, are duty-bound to serve and protect all citizens, it was never my intention to take any action or activity to distract from the message of those peacefully protesting. This unfortunate altercation is a teachable moment for everybody, for the people of Joliet, for the Joliet Police Department, and even for me as the mayor. I understand there are those who perceive this to be an era of judgment and inaction. No one, anyone, including me, intends or seeks to be judged by one specific action. In the subsequent days since this incident has happened, many have made their individual interpretations of what happened as part of the public discussion, and that's fair. But what I can also tell you is that it is impossible for anyone to define my personal intent on what happened that night for me, except for me. I only acted to defend myself because I felt my personhood was threatened. So to those who choose to be critical, please do not mischaracterize my actions as an attack. I sought to hurt no one, but only to preserve my own personal safety in the middle of the chaos. Currently, there's an investigation that has been initiated, and I fully welcome it. I will fully support the total transparency and openness because the public deserves the facts and the truth. In the last week, there were a small group of Joliet pastors who have commented on this incident, including Bishop Stephen Evans. I personally have a lot of respect for Bishop Evans and the good works he has done for the city of Joliet. And I believe and know he was absolutely correct when he stated that the job of the mayor is to unite the community. But in addition to my responsibility to bring people together, I also have a sworn responsibility to protect the life, liberty, and property of the people of Joliet as a matter of public safety. Not all those goals of unity can be achieved just by the mayor and the city council. We need the entire community's help in order for that to happen. I need the help of Bishop Evans and other religious leaders. I need the help of every community leader possible. I need help from the business community and need help from the participation of young people from Joliet. We need to hear their perspective. We need citizens to work with me, the city council, and our police department. But also, we are here to listen. We are here to listen and dialogue with one another. We are a community and should not respond as fractured, but as a community. We need everybody's help. To be clear, moving forward, I am personally willing to work with anyone who wants to bring positive change and social justice to Joliet. I think my record as mayor proves that, and many of the community leaders that are here today will confirm that fact. I have worked hard for 5 years to bring people in our community together and have made myself available and accountable in every way possible. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once stated, quote, "We all have to learn to live as brothers and sisters, or we will all perish together as fools." I will choose to commit towards living together in a united community as brothers and sisters peacefully within this city. I will commit and continue to do so every day as mayor of the great city of Joliet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Oda Kirk. The next person that's on the agenda is Mr. Cornell Darden. He is President and CEO of the South Suburban Black Chamber of Commerce in Joliet. Mr. Darden.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to say that this is a very troubling time for our country and our great city of Joliet. And I would also like to say that I support the mayor wholeheartedly. We have a great mayor here in our city, and I'm very proud to have worked with our mayor to get a lot of things done as far as the black business community is concerned, and I look forward to working with him in the future. I think that at this time, we need unity. We need to come together as a community to help solve some of our issues. Our city, by no way, is not perfect. We have a lot of issues, and the Black Chamber has spoken out several times about those issues. The mayor has always been there. He's always done everything that we've asked to move forward. I support him wholeheartedly, and speaking on behalf of our black businesses who have been working with us with our endeavors, they can say the same thing. Our mayor is a good mayor, and we would not like to see our mayor persecuted for something that he did not do. I definitely think that it's a time for healing, it's a time for conversation, and communication, and that we need to all work together and bring unity to our city. Thank you.
Next to speak is Reverend Lonnie Posley. He is the pastor of New Canaan Land Church here in Joliet, Illinois. Reverend Posley.
I want to take this opportunity to tell everyone thank you for coming out, and we just want to take this opportunity to stay in our lane. I believe I ran track. When I ran track, we had to stay in our lane where you can become disqualified. So my lane is to reconciliation. My ultimate goal is that we can find this city and find a common ground. What can we do to reconcile? If someone is wrong, then they have a right their day in court. We're not going to put someone down to build someone up. What we're going to do is find a medium ground. My goal is to pray until things change and get better. But I can reflect upon some things that transpired a few years ago when we had the atrocities here in the city, gun violence, we had boots on the ground, and prayer strikes in the air. And we circumambushed all four corners of the city of Joliet. And every time we went out to address the issues that were going on in the city of Joliet, the mayor, Bob Odenkirk, was there. He showed up every time. And not only was there just walking with us and praying with us, but he also believed in what could make this city better. So I'm here today to say that I believe that we can get better. And another thing that I want to say is this: truth will do three things. Truth will get you in trouble, truth can get you killed, but truth can create freedom. So in the midst of getting in trouble, stand on truth. In the midst of facing death, stand on truth. Because at the end of the day, all of us seek to have freedom in our lives. Thank you so very much. And may God bless you, and may God constantly keep you.
Next coming to the lectern is Detective Dave Jackson. Mr. Jackson.
Good afternoon. I'm not Detective Dave Jackson. I'm Brad Price, and I'm here representing the Black Police Officer Association. I'm a retired Joliet police officer, current member of the Police Officer Association. Before I get started, I wanted to say how impressed I am with the young people in our country who have united to dismantle hate and evil. I applaud them for looking forward and having vision to make change. I just think they should be applauded for it. In this day where so many young people being recognized for the negative things that they're doing. I want to use this time to share our organization's experience with the mayor in his office. So we are the Black Police Officer Association, and we're the local chapter of the National Black Police Association. The BPOA, it's our primary mission for over 30 years in Joliet has been to enhance the relationship between the police department and members of the Black and Hispanic communities. The goal in building relationships that foster mutual trust. The goal is to build relationships, that foster mutual trust, cooperation, and respect. Our motto is building bridges, not walls. Our partnerships and programs with the local school districts, faith-based organizations, and social service agencies are highly regarded and recognized nationally. We were instrumental in working with the city to bring cultural diversity, inclusion, and implicit bias training to our police department members. We advocate for more diversity within the ranks of the police and fire departments. That being said, I want to say that our mayor stood by our organization and supports us in our mission. He's been receptive to our concerns and acted on behalf of our causes. He has worked with us to increase the hiring of African American women on the police and fire departments. Mayor Odekirk has appointed African American men to various boards, committees, and positions throughout city government. He's worked alongside us in building relationships and providing services to churches, youth organizations, and educational institutions. The mayor's work with the BPOA shows his desire to shrink the gap on some of the racial disparities that exist in our city. Prior to his administration, the police department had a 25-year period without hiring any black female officers. Prior to his administration, the fire department had never hired a female firefighter in its entire history. He's dismantled the good old boy club and is creating city government that represents the diverse complexion of this community. Our organization will continue to work on building bridges, leveling the playing field, and seeking inclusion for Black and Hispanic communities with this current administration. We would hate to return to the politics of previous city government. We know that the road ahead is long, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and a lot of changes that need to be made, but let's not move backwards. Let's call this administration to action and move forward with them with cooperation.
We're bringing a citizen by the name of Ms. Madi Perez, who was there at the time of the incident. So, Ms. Perez, come forward, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maddie Perez. I'm a community activist from the St. Pat's Association neighborhood. I come here to speak on what I observed personally Sunday night. What I observed were a crowd of people that were very aggressive, that were very angry. They were rioting, they were looting, they were attacking, assaulting the police officers of Joliet, and I also observed the mayor be assaulted. What I will say to my city is that this is the time where we all need to come together. And I pray and I hope that this situation will bring us all together to have those tough discussions, because what I saw Sunday night was horrific. I've never, in my 20 years being a resident of Joliet, observed such aggression, such disrespect. I felt hopeless seeing this happen in front of me. Young people hanging out of their vehicles, screaming profanity, throwing water bottles, canned things. It was horrible. I've never seen JPD be so violently attacked and the mayor be assaulted and then physically attacked to the point where he was pushed to the ground, falling onto another citizen. It should have never happened. It was horrible. And I think we as a community and all of our community activists need to come together in unity, with empathy, with an understanding, and have these conversations with our youth, because it wasn't okay. I want to express my deepest condolences to the family of George Floyd. I think we're all here because we all share the heartfelt seeing what happened to him, seeing this brutality. There's no doubt that we do need judicial reform, that we do need to deal with the police brutality from certain police. This does not represent all of our policemen and women that serve and protect our lives daily. With that said, I pray for unity. I pray that we can all come together. And I just feel like the mayor is not getting a fair shake with the way he's been verbally attacked. I know myself, I've been verbally attacked for speaking up on what I saw that day, and it's not fair. I have a lot of community activist people that I've considered dear friends of mine who have come at me for speaking up on what I observed. And I'd be the first one, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Yes, I've bumped heads with Mayor Odekirk, but I respect him. I will say that him being out there Sunday, I found a greater respect for him. It showed he really cares about our community. Seeing him take that kneel Sunday out with the people at White Castles, that just sent a big message to me. And I think we need to put our personal differences aside, and we need to come together as one. Thank you, Joliet. M-A-D-Y. Thank you. I'm sorry, P-E-R-E-Z. Thank you, thank you.
We'll now take a few questions. Mayor Odekirk will. For those who have any questions, please raise your hand so I can identify yourself by name and whose affiliation.
Also, if you could step to the microphone so local TV can pick it up, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Francisco WGN. Mayor Odekirk, can you describe for us in your own words what happened to you on May 31st?
Well, I don't, I've spoken about it quite a bit. Obviously, it's being investigated by the state police at this point, and there's lawsuits. So I won't go much further. There's video out there which is grainy and probably not a good look. My hope is that there's additional video, and it probably is. It's going to show the entire incident. Like I said, I was not, as I was out there throughout the night, I was talking to people. Some recognized me as the mayor, others didn't. Many were not from our community. But urging people to go home. That's demonstrated in the video, trying to calm down the situation. The incident in question was an individual who came and engaged me, and that's essentially what led to the altercation.
Can you tell us if official charges will ever be filed against these two?
I don't know. It certainly doesn't come from me. My understanding would be that the state police are going to look at all aspects of this and will make a recommendation.
Hi, Mayor Mustafa, Channel 5. How do you respond to people who say you're impersonating a police officer?
I was not. I was there as the mayor. I wasn't taking enforcement action, but again, I was trying to diffuse the situation as best I could and trying to keep the peace. And quite frankly, some of the people who've been critical of me, I've said openly, I wish they were there with me. I wish others were on the street trying to stop what was happening in Joliet. Ms. Perez just spoke about it. It is a miracle that no one was killed that night. It's a miracle that our police officers were not seriously injured or killed. Their officers shot at. There's gunfire, pieces of asphalt, bricks, rocks, frozen water bottles, all thrown at myself and the officers throughout the night. So it was a horrible situation. I hope I don't see it again. It's my 10 years as a policeman, I never saw anything to that extent here in Joliet. And no, I wasn't impersonating. I was trying to do my role as a mayor and trying to defuse the situation.
Finally,
Can you actually speak into the microphone because
Sure.
you're not going to put that.
Okay, how is your office working on healing the community after the protests?
I spoke with a few different individuals. Obviously, a lot of people are here that are from the community. I've attended protests both that night and subsequent to that. So as I said clearly, I'll work with anybody. I always had that motto as mayor. But moving forward, I think a lot of the individuals who are here today in support are going to be the key people to putting the community back together. One thing that I have found a little surprising, and I've expressed this when I've been at the protests, our city, which is a very diverse city, has avoided this type of racial unrest for many, many years now. I think part of it is because of the community policing that our Joliet Police Department was one of the first departments to really embrace back in the early 1990s. And the City of Joliet Police Department has constantly been used as a role model for other communities for our policing efforts. So it was a little bit, I think it took some of us by surprise the level of unrest that would descend on our city. We've had controversial incidents in the past. We've had police shootings. There have been issues that were not always well accepted by the community, but we always had a good dialogue and never had, it's been a long time since we had this type of incident. I think probably going back to the assassination of Martin Luther King was the last time the city of Joliet saw this type of unrest.
Bob O'Connor from the Herald News. Some questions have been raised about your activity in the past as a police officer. Would you allow details of disciplines that you, or suspensions that you have be released, and
Well,
the reasons for those suspensions?
I'm glad you asked the question, Bob. I think, what happened today with your newspaper, I think was reprehensible. You printed bad information. Your editor was told it was bad information. But if you want to go on the record about my police career, I served honorably here in Joliet for 10 years. The last 4 years of my police career, I went to law school at night at John Marshall and achieved a law degree. I was nominated 4 times for Officer of the Year. I won the Martin Murin Labor Award in 1995 with my partner, Pat Cardwell, who's currently a Joliet Police Sergeant. I left the police department 17 years ago. That was a personal choice that I made. I wasn't forced out. I didn't leave with discipline pending or looming. It was a choice that I made. I was an outstanding police officer, and part of me loved the job, and part of me recognized the toll that the job was taking on me, so I made a personal choice. So to go beyond that and the smear that's been leveled against me, both by your paper and by some individuals calling me nicknames that I was never referred to before, it's unfortunate. But for the record, I will say that I was never disciplined for excessive force or any type of improper activity with abuse of a prisoner or abuse of a citizen of Joliet.
Well, but what about, would you allow details then of those suspensions to be released?
I don't know what you've been given. Someone is feeding you bad information.
You were never
Thank
suspended?
you. I was suspended, but not for any of the things that are being alleged.
We don't have any information as to what was alleged.
Looks like you're in the old,
Similar question, Alice Weber from Chicago Tribune. Similar question, the records we received showed a number of days that you were suspended, or that you were alleged to have been suspended. Can you say if you served all those days?
Absolutely not. You got bad information. It was given out by, well, I'll leave it at that. There's bad information, and that's all I can say. But again, my record is clear. You can FOIA it, the personnel file, what's available, what is legally responsible for myself or any other city employee. It's all there, and I encourage you to look at it, and I encourage you to print it.
Can you indicate how many days you believe?
I don't know. I was suspended once for missing a court date. I was suspended once for having a vehicle parked improperly. I was suspended once for writing on a desk. You're talking about my career 25 years ago. I've been an elected official for 9 years. This was the smear that I put up with when I ran again for mayor. Misinformation about my police career, misinformation about lawsuits that I was not involved in. So I really don't care to go any further than what I've said, but I'm proud of my police career. And again, I wish the documents that are available, you are available, I wish you would print them and talk about what type of police officer I was.
Can you, so we were given the personnel orders.
I don't know what you were given, but it wasn't accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, John Garrett from Joliet Patch. Mayor, you obviously had several people call for your resignation, starting with Warren Doris last week, and there's been other individuals too. What do you say at this point in time, to those politicians or former politicians that have called for your ouster?
Thank you. I think the key word is politicians. Like I said in my statement, I'm willing to work with anyone, including Pastor Doris or anyone else who is a critic of mine. The idea of resigning never crossed my mind, John. I was reelected a year ago. It's a 4-year term. I will finish my term. And certainly at the end of this term, the people of Joliet will have a choice as to who they want to be the next mayor. Well, again, I do want to thank everyone for coming. I believe the weather's held up so far. So thank you. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Hi there, Jamie Payne from the Times Weekly. Just had a question. Do you think you'll be going out with the police in the future to, in situations like this? Because these may be going on consistently. So I just didn't we don't understand why it is you chose to go out with the police.
Well, like I said, I've gone to protests that day. After that day, I'll continue to do that. If it's happened in our city, I'll be there. In a situation, I'm not sure if you're familiar with how bad it was Sunday evening, but I was out there. I was at the very beginning. Myself and the police chief were at the corner of Jefferson and Larkin, and we spoke with one of the leaders of the protests. And this is when things first became unruly, trying to diffuse it. He had a specific request he wanted from us, and as we were talking, a police officer next to me got hit in the face with a rock, and that's basically how things began to unwound. So I was on the scene. I certainly wasn't going to flee or go home once it happened. I was there and I was doing what I can, again, to try to diffuse it, try to get people to go home, and to support our men and women that were on the front lines of this. So yeah, I absolutely going to be available. I continue to be available. I believe it's my job as the mayor to be there to make sure that those types of things are being done, especially when in bad situations like what we had that Sunday evening.
Thank you. Question. Julia Alexander, Joliet Community Television Station. I have a comment, a statement to make, and then I also have a question to follow up on it.
Excuse me, we're just taking questions, we're not taking statements. I have a question, we're not taking any statements.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Mayor, I would like to know if at any time when you arrived at the scene that you announced who you were.
Well, with the chaos going on, it wasn't really an opportunity to make an announcement, but there were a number of people who recognized me and were saying things like, Mayor, what are you doing here? And I was going, what are you doing here? You guys got to go home, that type of thing. So there was a lot of communication when it was possible. When things got really bad later in the evening, there was no communication between anyone. It was just a matter at that point, our police department was under, as it was said, was under repeated physical attack from the mob.
Oh, yeah. Okay, because it was stated. That's it? Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you for coming here. If you have any questions, you have information how you can reach me. Feel free to reach out to me at area code 312-256-7185. Again, my name is Al Penn, and thank you for coming. 312-256-7185. Thank you.